Hello, good evening. How's everyone doing? Hope it's not too echoey tonight. I'm just gonna load it up so I get the comments. Hello. Jordan says, can I look at Link GBP? I'll look at Link US dollar. I'll see if I have time to look at it against the pound as well, definitely. The pound is pretty strong, so it should look like the dollar, but just slightly weaker. Okay, so I'm going to start off tonight talking about what happens in January, usually in Bitcoin, and then I'm going to and stock indexes. So here's a chart, and I went round and I went all the way back, and I put a marker around what happens in January because there's a pretty strong seasonal effect in January. What tends to happen is we have a flat or a sideways month, or a bit of a pullback in January. And even if we have an up month, it tends to happen in the first couple of days. So for example here, if we go back to 2014, we can go back earlier than this. We should go all the way back, shouldn't we? If we go back to 2012, you can see that actually kind of we topped out a sideways consolidation month. Now that's, we can say, well, 2012. 2013 was one of the rare bullish months in January, but you can see that we spent the first half of the month going sideways and then up we went. And 2020 was another anomaly where we had a really big bullish month, but for the most part, every other January in Bitcoin tends to be a bit of a back and fill or a sideways month. Here in 2014, again, we had the first couple of days of the month. We had a big rally. We topped out on the 5th of January, and then we ended the month way off the highs and the start of a decline that took us into March, April. And that's quite a seasonal pattern. Here in 2015, opened up here at 318, closed down here at 228. So although it looks like a bit of a sideways month, we lost a third of our value in this January at the start of 2015. Similar pattern here in 2016. Sideways month, we ended the month down. 2017, we topped out on the 4th of January, which is today. That was the high, and then a down month, and we ended the month below where we opened. So that was another negative month in 2017. And 2018, well, we think we all know what happened in 2018. We rallied for the first few days. We made a high on the 5th of January, day later than before or that we've just had, and then ended the month pretty much down. So there is a bit of a seasonal pattern. As I said last year, 2020 was a nice up month. It's unusual. The majority of the months in Bitcoin, even if we rally for the first few days or the first week of the month, we then tend to head lower and back and fill for the rest of the month. So that tends to be a bit of a seasonal pattern. 2020 and 2013 were the 2 years where we didn't do that. Now that's quite interesting because if we look at stock market seasonality, so here's a this is a chart. This was ignore the blue line. That was 2020 in the drop, what we did last year. But seasonally, the orange line since 2008, January through to March has seen kind of seasonal weakness in the S&P. If you go back to do previous years that go beyond March, beyond 2008, so in other words, if we look at post-election years and normal years, so this is an average year in pink, you can see that January is a sideways month, and then really so is February. We don't tend to start going normally until March. So that's what a normal month would look like, sideways, and a pretty quiet month in January. Post-election years, which is what we are in now, we tend to see a bit of a dip in January, or at least the first half of January and then into February. And we don't really bottom until March, and then the new administration takes over. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some seasonal, it would be the seasonal pattern to see this weakness in stock indexes. And as you know, Bitcoin's very correlated, or quite used to be quite correlated with the Nasdaq. The massive Santa rally this year was in Bitcoin. Boy, did this take off. So we had sideways consolidation into Christmas, and a huge breakout on Christmas Day that really never stopped. I'm going to go back to my regular Bitcoin chart, because if I put all my fib projections on this one, then I had a whole bunch of fib reasons. And let's go to the monthly. I had a whole bunch of fib reasons why this 30,000 level would be really interesting resistance. However, that's because I really like fib projections and harmonic patterns. But the people who do Elliott Wave, I'm going to hide these. So we know we've got that cluster, don't we, at 30,000. And if we close the month back underneath 30,000 with a big long tail, I think in January I would be quite bearish and looking for more downside. Not bearish, as in this is a top, but I think that we could be seeing a bigger correction here. But anyway, if we think that this is a wave 1, 2, 3, and because it's starting to behave like a wave 3, then the normal relationship between a wave 1 and a wave 3 is it's either 1.618 or 2.618 of wave 1. And so that, although we had all our resistance at 30,000 with the fib projections, but this gives the 2.618 level here up here at 3,200. So, and that's the level that I've kind of been watching. And I thought, gosh, if we hold this 3,200 as support, we're really going to keep going in this one. But we haven't. We've dropped back underneath it. And that's how we're looking. And on the monthly, again, that's monthly resistance. So I have to say, and I know there are a lot of Elliott Wave, very clever, smarter people than me that cannot, that find it very difficult to count this sequence. And so I'm not going to try, but I will say that at some point, and this kind of 2.618 extension, this is kind of where I would be looking for it to happen. So Jordan says, so Ben says, do you need a mask? God, Ben, I can't believe we're all locked down again for 2 months. I had really bad depression last time, so I need to do something to make sure that doesn't kick in again. Mainly because, before lockdown and in December, I was, once again, I was like swimming every day. And so I find it really hard when I'm not swimming every day. Ben G says we tagged the 1.618 extension of the entire 27th. You mean from this low? So, okay. So if we measure from here to here, you mean? And we go from here. We did tag exactly that. Yes, Ben is exactly right. So just make sure I've put it on the lows. I think I have. So there's a lot of confluence up here at the highs. The 1.618 of this, the 2.618 of this first leg pullback. So, I'm not surprised that we are seeing a bit of a tail up here. And I think that it may be, people are rushing to buy the dip because over Christmas holiday, if you didn't buy the dip like immediately, it bloody went without you, there was nothing you could do. In this instance, I think that we're going to see a bigger pullback. So what if this is a big, let's hide these now. What if this is a big wave 3? Well, the most common correction would be a 38.2 retrace. But in this instance, because the dips are so broad, I think that the 236 may hold it. So that's 27,500 basically. I'm thinking this is the prices in Tether are about $100 higher, and 22,900. that would be where the 38.2 is. Because this is quite extended, you know, we've already almost tagged, haven't we, this 236 fib level. I think the first thing we have to say is, well, we've stopped going up, and now we need to let it calm down, retest the highs, maybe make a higher low, see what happens. This candlestick pattern is a hanging man, and as a hanging man, you know, it's a really poor bearish candle. In fact, it works better as a bullish candle than it does as a bearish candle. So so far so good, but you know, this is, I think, pretty tough resistance. It is the season for a little bit of consolidation and back and fill, and you know, I think it would give us a really good opportunity to do that. So that's what I'm looking for. So the main question is going to be if we're going to see a bit of pullback in Bitcoin. The third one, of course, I'm looking for would be 50% back, and that would be kind of back to 20,000, back to the Christmas Day breakout level, and back to sort of 19,300. That, of course, would be a retest of the 27 highs. I can't imagine that it would come back here, but if it did, I think it would be a bit of a gift. So let's see how we go. So for a week or two, or at least a week, I'm going to sit on my hands and see how it plays out. And underneath 30,000, I think that, yeah, 27,500 for sure, and potentially 23,000 is where we come back to. So that's how I'm seeing Bitcoin. Now, what about the other majors? Because we've seen some really bullish moves in ETH, and here in ETH, I was looking for this 61.8 level. First of all, we were looking at, you know, last week this 50% level and 750, 760. If you're trading in fiat, it's 750 at Coinbase, 760 this 50% level. But we've kept going through all of these fib levels, interestingly, from this high to low. Each one's been a really good support and resistance level, and now we've reacted off the 786 fib. What does that mean for ETH Tether? It means that the support now, because it works like a staircase, or it should normally, means that the major support that we would be looking for ETH to pull back to is down here at the 61.8 level at 921. And that's what we need to see hold. And if it doesn't, if we close back below 921, because we've reversed at a 786 fib, our target is all the way back to this 38.2 down here, so 600. So I'm going to say it's fine to hodl if it comes back to 921 and doesn't close underneath it, but if it does, I would say don't hodl, sell it and buy it back again at 600. And you know, because there's been so much interest, institutional interest and whatever, it may be that we only do see shallow pullbacks, and instead of pullback, we rather see consolidation and a bit of sideways trading like we did here. If this is a big wave 1, 2, 3, we're looking for really a wave 4, aren't we, in ETH Bitcoin, in ETH dollar. What we're seeing in ETH Bitcoin, let's load that up, that chart up, because that's quite interesting. Because finally, we've got our bullish reversal in ETH Bitcoin, and we should see ETH outperform. And when ETH outperforms Bitcoin, what we tend to see is altcoins outperform. So this is suggesting that, yes, providing Bitcoin doesn't do some horrendous collapse, we should see altcoins rally. So we've broken out of this really nice channel, and we've broken above the 200-day moving average. This was our resistance, and this level now should be support, 0.0305. And we should look for ETH Bitcoin to continue to outperform. I like this because how long have I been talking about this, making an inverted head and shoulders pattern? Here we are finally, hopefully, making our inverted head and shoulders pattern. So our first target is going to be back to this neckline at 0.0405. If we put fib retrace levels on to help us with sharpening our pencil on these levels. That doesn't really help. We'll take this last swing here. So the 236 fib, which is basically the Fibonacci trend level, that's where our neckline is. So above this 236 fib of this most recent 5-wave swing lower would be our bullish reversal in ETH Bitcoin and a massive inverted head and shoulders pattern. So and a weekly 200 moving average as well. So I've got 0.404, but 0.0403, that's our first target. And then above there, we really are looking good in ETH Bitcoin. And this is a really good proxy chart for alts. Okay, Dylan says, you think the utility could take a higher, it's only, yeah. So now that we think that Bitcoin got a little bit of overkicked, then, you know, potentially Ethereum is a really nice setup. Now, I'm trying to find my list, and I've got the chat up, but I don't seem to be able to both. So 1 second. Let's see what I can do to get my list of coins up, and so I go in the right order. Okay. Okay, this is shit. I can't do it. Hold on. Okay, I'm just gonna have to close the chat. Hi, Funk Devoid. Okay, let me see. There, I got my list up. Okay, so these are the coins requested in my group, so that's what we're gonna do. So BCH, then Ethereum Classic. So BCH is an interesting chart. Both of the alternatives were really lagging. Go away. I'm going to take this off and I'm going to look at I'm going to start on a weekly chart here of Bitcoin Cash. So what was really cool about this was, I think this was a really nice ABC correction, and I was like all ready for this to go here, you know, when we got back above these moving averages, but it's been really, really slow. Maybe this is a big wedge and we need to break out, and if so, this would be a third touch of a trend line, which is very often a false breakout, and then you come back to find support before you go again. So for me, on this weekly, this third touch of this trend line, false breakout today is not very, although I'm hoping to be bullish, it needs to come back and find some support, I think, before we go again. If we look, this was almost there we go, textbook ABC, equal measured move. So even if this is, and this to me looked like 5 waves, so but even if it's not, even if this is a big A and this is a big B, then this is the C leg. Let's see where we should be going to. Because for me, we've gotten above this 61.8. I think we should be carrying on higher here, but let's see. Third touch anyway, first time back to a trend line like this. It's very often a false break or a bit of a struggle, but if we get above it, and then if we get above this 236 fib level at 491, that for me is a bullish reversal. So 491, the horizontal level, I think is more important in this instance. So above 491, underneath there, you know, it's all just one big flat moving average, you know, not quite a breakout yet thing going on. Could this take off? I mean, it's got the look for me, but it hasn't quite gone yet. You do want to make sure that it's looking good against Bitcoin, because otherwise, now on the weekly here, we've stopped going down. So we've got a little doji, and then so far another little doji. If we look at it on the daily, we haven't quite reversed the trend yet, have we? So just like BCH US dollar hasn't quite broken out yet, BCH Bitcoin hasn't quite broken out yet either. And see how this daily 50 moving average as resistance all the way down. For me, what I would really like to see is a close above this daily 50 and a close above this previous high. If you think about a trend, a downtrend, it's lower lows, lower highs. So we need to take out this high for BCH Bitcoin to reverse. And unless we can, all we're really doing is going sideways. So that's really what we need to see. Above 0.014 and above the daily 250 moving average, and we should see some upside. More follow through. It's not a trend reversal completely, but that's what I'd be looking for. My first target would be all the way back to that 2018 low and this big support and resistance level at 23.52. But in between there's going to be a wobble level. There's always a wobble here. These highs and lows and this 200-day moving average. So 0.02 first resistance, and then 0.0235 I would have as my first target for BCH Bitcoin if you're trading BCH against Bitcoin. Unless we can reverse this, I'm not sure that I would really spend any of my Bitcoin on BCH yet. Okay, ETC and LTC. So Ethereum Classic, this is another one. Been in a long-term downtrend. Nice bouncy candle today, but you can see, you know, in this downtrend on the weekly, we've had a few of them. We need some follow through. First of all, we need to stop going down. Are we at a level where that might happen? I'm going to say I think probably not yet. So against Bitcoin, I don't think we're quite there yet. So what would I need to see for us to be there and reverse the trend? Well, yeah, you know, short term, I suppose this is the most recent swing high. We'd need to close above this and the 20 moving average. You know, but what more importantly, I'd want to see it build a base like a double bottom or some sideways consolidation that we can launch from. You know, crypto loves to retest lows, and we really do need to do a retest in this one for Ethereum Classic. Yeah, to say it's going up again, it's really not enough. And yeah, I really kind of, we could draw this as a big channel, couldn't we? Like this. So we are off the bottom of the channel. So if we do reverse this trend, then the first place we'd be looking is the top of the channel. And then we see that from there, if we can break out from the top of the channel, we'll go 50% back, the 200 moving average, and then so on from there. Yeah, that's really what we need to see, I'm afraid, at this point. For ETC, for me to want to spend my Bitcoin on ETC, that's what I'd want to see. First off, I'd want to see it take out 2,430 and that last swing high, as in a daily close above it. Okay, that doesn't mean that Ethereum Classic isn't going to go up against the US dollar. If you're trading against Tether, you can see actually that this is, it looks like a pretty nice base, doesn't it? And potentially a base that we could launch from. Do you know, I always look at this and I think, somebody needs to tell me, what is the point of Ethereum Classic? Like, what does Ethereum Classic do? Now, that's the issue I always have with this one. I've got this the wrong way around. Let's put that right. Okay, so we're going from all-time highs to all-time lows. We'll make it really simple. All-time highs, all-time lows, 236 fib, a weekly close above this 236 fib level. That would be a bullish reversal. That level, we're really close to it. 7.252, that would be us on our way. So a close above 7.252. Otherwise, this is resistance. Sometimes I think it's better to let it go, close above it, and then on a lower time frame, you can buy the retest of the level. So that's what I would want to see for Ethereum Classic to be going up from here. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is Litecoin, then XLM, and then ADA. So Litecoin for a little bit there over the holidays was absolutely eating Bitcoin's lunch. And this one is finally starting to look a bit like a bottom, isn't it? When I have if I go to a monthly chart and I put all my fibs on, I feel like we've kind of lost our way a little bit, but I'm probably drawing them wrong. So let's make it this one really easy as well. And we'll say, first of all, we'll look at just this most recent swing. We'll say if we get past the 236 of that, then we'll do the bigger ABC swing. Don't worry about all the dots where I draw on this, and so on. So that would be our second target. Because for my money, you want to be on the fastest horse on the race. And if it's not going up against Bitcoin, then why would you spend your money? And this one actually is finally starting to look like it is making a bit of a base that we could launch from. So we'll do that for our first. And then, yeah, we'll go from here. That'll be our first target then. Make it a different color. Okay, so if we can break out, from this sideways range that we are stuck in, because we are stuck in a sideways range. These previous highs and these previous lows are what's holding us down. It's at 0.0056. So our first upside resistance is 0.0056, and above 0.0056, our target is 0.00716. So first resistance, first target. Second target is that bigger 236 fib up here. But we'll go step by step for this one. And when you make a sideways range, whether it's anyway, that's what we're going to be looking for. Does it look good at the moment? It's looking a little bit toppy here, isn't it? These highs are really, or even this high, is really a little bit of a sideways range, and it's not. Now that's fine if you're going up against Bitcoin, but it means you're going down with the ship as well. So this is the sideways range that we needed to break out of in Litecoin, Bitcoin for me to be bullish, and then at sort of above 0.56, happy days. So not quite there yet. Litecoin US dollar tether, or dollar. Yeah, look at this. Okay, so when you don't want something to just be a correction, the first kind of danger area is always, you measure the first swing, and it's always when it gets to the equal point from the first swing you made. So if we measure from the low to the high of this first swing, it looks like we kind of gone beyond that equal measured move, but there was always a danger. Remember, this is a monthly chart, that this was just a little false breakout, and we're going to close back underneath. If we look at it on the weekly, we closed above it, so that could give us a little bit of confidence. And if we hold above it, then happy days, we should keep going. It's also, we're holding above these previous highs. So Litecoin Tether looks pretty good, doesn't it? Holding above previous potential resistance. And if we can keep going, I think that 50% back of this big drop is more likely to be our next upside target at 192. I would also then 192 and then 233. Litecoin has quite a bit of catch up to do though, doesn't it? So, yeah, nearly there, isn't it? Not quite. It's not helping. We'll go with it. I was always taught that if your projections didn't quite line up, that to go with the bigger retrace levels, and that usually works for me. So that's what we're going to do. So in Litecoin, Bitcoin, we've got this pretty neat bottoming pattern. We still need to break out, and we're pretty bullish and holding new highs in Litecoin dollar. So I would say of all of the bigger ones, Litecoin's probably got the most upside potential right now. Just a bit like F. Okay, that was Litecoin. XLM. This was in my group this week. This was one of my favorite coins. This is an hourly chart. Let's go back to the daily and talk about why. Mainly because we made a pretty nice ABC correction. This swing and this swing are equal. We bounced off it, made a higher low, and today we've closed above this daily 50 moving average, which is always a bit of a troublemaker. So I'm really bullish XLM US dollar. I'm looking for the top of this bullish flag next, and then I'm looking for a breakout and the next leg up, hopefully. If we can't break out, if we make a little false breakout here, it could be that this is the start of a bigger correction. And if we do break out, previous highs will be first resistance, and then we'll look at projections. So XLM dollar looks really good. The only question then becomes is XLM also outperforming Bitcoin? And does it look just as good against Bitcoin? I'm just going to mark that leveled in just because you never know. Sometimes these levels, when you come back to them, they can cause you a little bit of grief. So those big support and resistance levels. So really bullish. I'm be looking for pullbacks to 154. If we look at that on the hourly, this previous high, this is what I expect to hold if we keep going higher here in XLM. Okay. XLM Bitcoin. Yay! Finally, a bit of a decent, I would say it's not a sure thing that we've bottomed, but it is starting to look quite positive for XLM Bitcoin. Yes, finally. So, first resistance, we're going to draw from this high to this low, is this 236 fib, and that'll be your first upside target, and that's where the daily 20 moving average is. 578, and then if we can get above that, yeah, let's go all the way. 823 and higher, and take on these daily moving averages. It's going to be pretty bumpy in XLM Bitcoin, but this is a pretty good sign so far. Okay, next one we're going to look at is ADA. I got a little bit nervous about ADA. Let's start with ADA. Hang on. Let's start with ADA Bitcoin. We'll start on a monthly chart or a weekly chart. That's what we need. Now, in this, we had this big rally, we had this big pullback. Here we had a nice swing failure pattern. That's where you make a false breakdown to new lows. We tagged this 886 fib level from this low to this high. And when you do that, your first target for me is back to the 786, sorry, which I haven't drawn. And if you get above the 786, you've reversed. So if we can look what we've done today, we have done it. We have closed above this level, which we couldn't do yesterday. We tried, but it just wasn't happening. So this is our support level. Making the pulls up this, hold on. Anyway, that's our support level. When we come back and retest it, that's where we should hold. And if we look, that's where our daily 20 moving average is. So we're a little bit stuck now. We're stuck with the daily 50 and this previous high as our resistance. That's what we've got to get above if we're going up. And we've got our support here of the daily 20 and this 786 fib level. If we drop back beneath that, we're going down again. So those are the levels I'm going to look for. Let's put them on the right. So 652 on a pullback should be support, and we shouldn't see a close beneath that. So far, look, it's working pretty nicely as support, and then above this previous high and above the daily 50 moving average, we're going up again. So we're looking pretty good here in ADA Bitcoin. Those are the parameters. Back underneath here, it doesn't mean that ADA is not going to go up. It just means it's not going to go up as much as Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin's having a bit of a pullback, you kind of don't want to be flat with it, do you? Okay, so now we'll go back to ADA Tether. Weekly chart. Now, I had expected this 50% level to be a bit of trouble. That's why I've got a big pink zone around it. First of all, it's 50% of the all-time highs here to the all-time lows. And those 50% levels are very often a bit of trouble. But I also had it as a 1.6 extension of this most recent swing. So a lot of reasons for this to be resistance, and we've blasted through it. We closed last week above it, and we're holding above it. So that's quite impressive. And therefore, the next level now, we'll use this one, is up here at the 61.8, 0.246. Sometimes, though, we do stop in between the 50 and the 61.8. And if we look back here, we've got a bit of resistance level from this opening range here, and that was the high. So I'm going to say I'm still bullish, but if we close back underneath this 50% level again, I would get a little bit more nervous that we're going to see a bigger correction. So far, nice little doji pause, and we're holding above it, and everything looks fine. Even if we go down to the hourly, you can see each time we come back to this level, we're finding buyers. But again, if a daily close underneath it, and I think that we're in for a bigger correction, just like everything else in ADA Tether. So I would keep it tight, and I wouldn't hodl if it comes all the way back. I would wait for a better buying opportunity. This is a big 5 waves up. If you break that support, we would normally come back down to the bottom of this swing here at least, which is 0.16. And as we're up at 0.21 and the support is 0.2, that's quite a lot to give back, isn't it? That's like 25% back. So that's 0.20308 then is on the big 50% level. That's what we're looking to be, hold a support, and we continue higher from here to 0.2468. Okay, all right. ADA. Let's take a look at NEO. NEO. Now, I keep watching this NEO chart, and it's been really impressive how we've held these lows in NEO. And if we were looking for this just to be a correction after a big 5-wave rally, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. Then this has met the rules of where this swing is 61.8 of this swing. So potentially we could rally from here. We could draw this also as a bullish pennant like this. And so, we're looking for a breakout. It's pretty tough when you have to work your way through these moving averages, but NEO has just reclaimed the 200 moving average today. This 50 will be next, and then we'll be looking for this trend line. Remember, third touches of trend lines very often are false breaks, and then you'll see a pullback to support before we have another go at breaking out. So watch out for that when we get there. So yeah, NEO against the dollar, or against dollar tether, looks all right. Let's check though that we haven't got any. Well, it will be if we can get above that daily 50. Let's check NEO Bitcoin, because for my money this is still in a little bit of a downtrend, and really, is that a swing high? I suppose it is on the 4-hour if we look. Yeah, I think we could count that as a swing high. So we have short-term reverse this trend in NEO. I think it's setting up to break out above 579 though. That would be the sure thing, more upside. The first bounce, you see how these moving averages are all really bearish and stretched out and not lined up for about it. You tend to rally and then retest the lows, and so for me this is not enough of a reversal yet to be spending my Bitcoin on NEO. I think it does look good against, no doubt about it, it looks good against the dollar, but yeah, I just want to see a bit more evidence or a retest of the lows. You know, a lot of these crypto will always retest the highs or retest the lows. This 50% level, this daily 50, this 50% of this swing, or if we put it on as a bigger swing, the 236 fib of this bigger swing, this would be where I would see my first target. If we can get off those lows, that would be where we would be looking for next. And then if we get above them, happy days. Then we can talk about a trend reversal. So 800, 820 would be your first upside target if we can turn it around. So far, so good. Yeah. I just need to see a little bit more of a, like here, you know, double top and a retest. I would just like to see a retest, I think, with NEO for me. Otherwise, it's just still a downtrend. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is OMG and then ALGO. So OMG, again, we're going to start with against Bitcoin. Now this one has made, it's almost a double bottom. I don't think it quite tagged the low. So pretty close to pretty good to previous all-time lows in OMG Bitcoin, and another, you know, pretty nice bounce. I'm going to say let's be generous. Let's just look at this most recent swing lower here and say first upside target would be the 236 back from that, and then if we get above that, then at least short term we've got a bigger reversal going on, and so that would be from here 1230. Let's see if we can get above 1230. Just gonna yeah. So I would need to, for OMG Bitcoin, I would need to see a couple of things. Either above this 1230 level and then it's support and we keep going and we make a really nice V bottom, or I'd like to see a retest of the lows and a bit more of a base. Doesn't mean OMG dollar isn't going to go up, and you know, this is enough. You know, it's going up against Bitcoin. If it's going up against the dollar as well and you're trading it against the US dollar or Tether, I'd probably do it. All you really want to see is that it's outperforming Bitcoin. Okay, so here's another one like NEO, a really, really nice base here, back above the 200 moving average, and just testing this 50. Are we going to get above it? Not quite today. And the problem is when you don't get above the daily 50s, you tend to do a bit of back and fill. You can go in between. So we could see a couple of days here where we're held underneath it. A nice inverted head and shoulders pattern, that would be a good look here, wouldn't it? If we could do that, because this is the high and the moving average that's holding us up here. So if we had a little bit of a pullback in Bitcoin that gave us this pattern, that would be a really nice look. So we're going to say as long as we stay above the 200 moving average and these lows here, that would be a good place if we come back for support, or where we would be bearish below, really. And that's where we would like to see hold, sort of 3, 2.99, 2.98, or 3. If that holds and we can make that pattern, happy days. So that's also where our 4-hour support is, 4-hour 200 moving average, and so on. So OMG Tether says, yeah, lots of potential, baby. Yeah, nice weekly swing failure pattern, really nice weekly bounce off the weekly 50 moving average. There's lots to like about this. If we can reverse this trend, then yeah. Time to go up. Really good level, isn't it, that we've bounced off here at 2.5. So OMG Tether, I would say I'll give it a yes. Okay. Okay, next one. ALGO and Matic. Okay, ALGO. I have a feeling tonight's going to be one of those nights when I run out of time now. Algorand. Algorand against Bitcoin. I like this one much better than any of the other recent ones that we've looked at that have bounced. And I like this because this one clearly is making a base here. And every time we rally, we get knocked back either by this 236 fib or the 20 moving average. So now it's really clear what Algorand Bitcoin has to do to break higher here. Has to get above 1339 and close above 1339, and then above this daily 20, and then I think we're looking good. Momentum is on our side. Today's just been a bit of a doji indecision day, but I guess with everything else at resistance, why not? This pattern here is not really that inspiring, but it is making a pretty good base, and that's what I would want to see. If we got above there, then 1502, 1635 will go our way up, but I would be looking back to these big previous lows up here and this previous swing high as my next target around 2000, 2100. And then second target would be this daily 200 moving average at 2700. So potential, we've made a base to launch off in Algorand Bitcoin. We need to see now if we can launch. Okay, Algorand Tether. Now, let's just hide that for a second. Take that away. So this has a really nice look as an inverted head and shoulders pattern, doesn't it? It's not quite balanced because this right shoulder is a bit bigger than the left, but it's got that look. When do head and shoulders pattern fail? Head and shoulders pattern fail when they are just ABC corrections. So if we measure from this swing high here to low and this swing high here to low, it's not quite, yeah, it does look like an ABC correction, doesn't it? Maybe I haven't quite drawn it right. I need to put my thing on. There. I think we got slightly short of that level, but there it is. So now we have double topped at this ABC level. When that happens, if you break back below this 61.8, that's a bearish reversal. So a close in Algorand Tether back below 0.3862 would be a just ABC bearish reversal, and then I'd be looking for another swing lower, and it would not be the bullish pattern, I'm afraid, that we think it is. If we can hold 38.62 and then turn higher from here and break this bearish symmetry, happy days. I would love it. But at the moment, that's the two levels that we're stuck in between. So we're going to be confirmed bullish above 46.21, but below 38.62, back down to the weeds, I'm afraid. And when you get an ABC correction like this, your normal retrace is 786. So AB equal measured moves. So your target would be if we break that down here, 27.40, if we break that 61.8 level. So be a little bit careful in Algorand Tether. It looked really good, didn't it? But it stopped at just such a bad place. So that's what I'm looking at. I'll just remind you. Below 38.79. Okay, next one we're going to look at is Matic, then Atom, and then Dot. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to catch up with the comments. Night Owl. I really do think that for me, everyday trading, I kind of look for 4-hour closes above, but really the ultimate thing is the daily. But sometimes, you know, you'll have a daily close above a level and it'll keep going, and then it ends up, you know, being, yeah, you know, just, I know what you mean, but I tend to look at it a 4-hour really. Okay, so I seem to have lost Matic. That's okay. Okay, we're going to look at Matic Bitcoin first. On the monthly, because this has been a pretty nasty, very deep retrace. I got a lot of dots on this chart as well. So, most important thing is, have we got a bullish reversal? Are we going to start going up against Matic? I would say this candlestick looks pretty good. If I put my, again, I'm going to just take this most recent swing, 236 fib, we're above it. 71 now, Matic Bitcoin should, even if we get knocked back at this 20 moving average, should hold us as support if we are going to keep higher. If we don't, well, we're going to need to look for a bigger bottoming pattern. And this is another one where if these highs stop us, then we're going to look for either double bottom, you know, triple bottom, or we could see, again, another inverted head and shoulders pattern, something like that from Matic Network. But these previous highs, that's the trend level and potential support at 71. But if 71 doesn't hold, could come all the way back to 64. So looking good. Let's see against Bitcoin. Let's see how we do against the dollar or Tether. This is coiling up, as they say. In this one, I put my fibs on like this, but I'm not sure I entirely like them like that. And I think in this instance, I'm just going to use this most recent swing and say, you know, we'll play small ball here because these levels are working. This 236 is working, this 38.2 is working, and this 50% is working. And so we'll say, if we hold this 50%, we're going up to the 61.8 next, and so on, and we'll go up the staircase like that. Okay, in Matic Tether. So that means 0.02204 is our support. That's the level that we've broken above. Do I think that this is a head and shoulders pattern? I have to say I don't think it is. I feel like this left shoulder is too small and this right shoulder is too big. Now this, potentially then, for me this looks like an A, B, C. So corrective, and so we'll measure this swing and we'll project it from here and we'll see where we line up from. Okay, so this was a big 61.8 that we broke above. So then I would say 0.0266 next, and so on. These don't quite line up with the fib retrace levels. Sometimes that means that the bigger one is in play. Let's see if they do. No. Screw that up. Let's do that. Okay, let's try again. So we go from this low to this low, project it from here, and then we're going to go from this low and there, and then project that one. So 1, 2. We're just trying to see if anything lines up anywhere, and it doesn't really. So that's not helping us. So we'll just climb this staircase then. Happy days. And we'll watch out that we don't stop at that equal measured move level. Kicking Mustang. No. I don't think, I am not a fan of using fib levels in log charts. I love log charts for being able to look at waves, count waves, long-term things, and you know, it makes it easier to draw them on. For example, if you look at a long-term chart of, if I look at this long-term chart of Bitcoin that we've been looking at, if I go to log scale and this one monthly, it's much easier for me to draw the fibs on because I can see the levels, but I wouldn't use them in log scale now. So here, hold on. Okay, so 1 point like this, and yeah, it does make it easier to draw stuff, but I wouldn't know. I think that they still work, to be honest. It's just I never do. What doesn't work in log scale is trend lines. They don't tend to. Yone says, did I talk about the Adam and Eve pattern for XLM Euro? No. I'll go back and look at XLM Euro. I didn't see that. And I'm normally a big fan of Adam and Eve patterns. Okay, so we're a little bit bullish. Matic. But what we don't want to happen here, really don't want to happen here, is we get stuck in an equal measured move level. So that's where we're going. Now, another way in fib rules, if I put my fibs on from this low to high, we reverse perfectly at a 786 fib. When you do that, your first target is the 38.2, so we did that swing perfectly. And your second target is the 236, which interesting is lined up here as well. So that adds weight to this 2623 being the next upside target. And yes, I did BCH at the beginning. Hello, Mr. Ed. So 2243 is support. 2623 is our next upside target. I don't think that this is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and we need to watch out that we don't get stuck here and it becomes a bigger ABC look, because that's what it would be if we stop there. So that's our resistance that we'd really like to get through. Next upside target and resistance we'd really like to push through. Okay. When I looked at XLM, I did not look at XLM against the euro. I can't remember which one I had to look at. I think it's, which one was I supposed to look at against the pound? I can't keep up with all these comments. I need to go back. Okay. Okay, yeah, so yeah, XLM Euro. I see that what you mean here. We have this spike bottom and then this lovely rounded retest. Yes, I agree. Yes, it is a lovely pattern. And I really do like Lumen to go higher and break out of this channel, hopefully. We've got the same channel in Lumen Euro that we've got against Lumen Dollar. Remember, the euro is really outperforming the US dollar at the moment. So is the pound. In fact, most currencies are outperforming the US dollar at the moment. So if you put them into your native currency, your charts might not look quite as attractive, but it's all the same thing. So yeah, this is a very nice, hopefully we can break out of this channel to the upside as well for the next leg up in XLM Euro as well. Okay, I will delink against the pound when we get there as well then. Better hurry up because I'm really, yeah, it's going to be all night, isn't it? Right then. I'm going to do as much as I can. Ripple died, I know. Listen, Ripple is not going to recover until they do a deal with the SEC. And how will you know that was coming? Insiders will be trading on it. So if you see it start to move big, it's because people know, somebody will know that there's a deal coming. Somebody in the SEC, there's always a leak and there's always insiders. We can't know, we're not insiders, but we can see their footprints on the chart when they start buying. And that's what we'll be looking for in Ripple. And yeah, it's like but it will be like buying a lottery ticket. And I think, honestly, a deal's quite hard because the SEC have charged the CEO of Ripple with personally benefiting 600 million from manipulation. And so that makes it really hard for him to settle, you know, because he isn't going to want to admit personal liability. So I am astonished, to be honest, that I think he needs to bite the bullet, but there you go. If they don't settle, then it's really death for Ripple, isn't it? So I didn't see it coming either. Okay, I'm trying to find Atom, and then we can move on. But yeah, until it does. You know, be very careful. We will see, because we'll see it move, you know. We can't be the insider, but we can see it move. Now, we keep getting stuck here. This is Cosmos against Tether. We keep getting stuck at this 50% level in the middle, which is not good, because 50% is not a fib, it's a sign of a corrective market though. And that's what we've got going on here. This was a little ABC, and now it's all looking a little bit irregular. If we were going to keep going higher, we should have gotten above this 50% and held it, and we haven't. We're back underneath it again, going sideways. So this doesn't make me terribly inspired, and it's a shame because I wanted to be, but all of these swings look just, you know, corrective. This one just finally maybe, but I'm going to say we really do need to get above 6.329 and hold above it, and we're not there yet. So that's what I'm going to watch for. Now, is this setting up to a nice buy to retest it? It looks like it is. We're holding these hourly moving averages that we pulled back to very nicely. It all looks like it's turning up again. You know, yeah, have a go. But this, if we can't get above this, it's not happening. So I would much rather, if I was going to buy Atom, I would much rather see us above this and then buy the support. That's it. Because then you know you're going up. You know. And then we're out of this sideways. So I'd be looking for 7.87. Really, my big target would be all the way up here at 10.2. And I'm going to put this on as well. There we go. Where's that 1.6? There, that's the 1272. So 10.2, and actually I think because this stopped at the 1272, 11 even. So that's going to tell us that we're ready to go again. Otherwise, this is looking like, gosh, really, what if this is a big up and then this was a big A, B, and we're still going to come all the way down here, you know? It needs to. It looks okay, but Ryan said you'd be happy in one of the newish ones. Yeah, I know what you mean. People tend to forget about these older ones, and then they just take off, and everybody goes, "Oh, look at metal," or you know, one of those original gangster coins. Okay, let's take a look at DOT then. I haven't missed. I'm going to do as many as I can, but let's see. Now DOT. I got my fib levels on from this correction. Fib projections, another way we could do it is like this, and we'll do this too. They're not really lining up at the moment, so I'm going to stick with these at the moment, and I'm going to, sometimes these interim ones, anyway. I feel like we've got more upside to come. Actually, my target is all the way up here at this 2.618 level. And mainly that's to do with this reaction at the 1.618. It was a bit of a delayed pullback, but once we got above it, this level was really good support. And so, you know, 1.618, 2.618 extensions, they're usually my big ones. I think you wobble in the middle at these levels. But from here, as long as we hold above 8.87, DOT tether, if it holds this level, should continue higher to 12.13. If, though, we don't, and if we fall back in this, one of the things about when you overshoot a level, if you go beyond it and you kind of, the market didn't mean to, it makes a head and shoulders pattern. For me, that's the overshoot pattern, a head and shoulders pattern. So if we do that here, this would be our left shoulder, head, and, you know, right shoulder. So if we break 8.87, I would get out of the way because it's the classic pattern of an overshoot. Okay. So 8.87. If we do, I would be looking for, you see this huge weekly move? 50% back of this weekly move is a good place next for us to head back to. So that's what I would be looking for. I'm using all the wrong, here we go. So open, close. We'll quickly find that 50% level. There it is. So yeah, that's where our support would be. Big weekly Maribosi. When you have a big candle with big body, not much top and tail, that's what that's called. There we go. Okay, so we're looking for back to 7.74 if we lose 8.87. So watch out that that doesn't turn into that reversal pattern here, this head and shoulders pattern, because it's setting up that way. And if it does, yeah, 7.74 would be where you come back to. Okay, that's DOT, then DOT tether, INJ. This one, I've been looking for DOT to break out of this channel that we're in. We had a go today and we've got rejected. That very often happens with a third touch, okay? So again, I've projected fibs from this first swing, 1.618, 2.618, 4.236, 6. These ones are working really, not perfectly, but pretty good. We go sideways at these levels anyway. If we continue for the next one, we should be looking for 6.92, but we need to break out from this big bullish flag, and at the moment we haven't been able to. So 4.53 is my breakout level, and here we are, short term on the hourly, not out yet. So still in this descending channel. That's what we need to see if we're going up in the next leg in INJ. So not quite over the line yet, just to the channel walls. So that's what I'm looking for, and we're not quite there. Okay, LTO is the next one. I'm not, with these smaller ones, I'm not gonna, I don't think anybody is really trading them against Bitcoin, so I'm not going to either. They're kind of looking at them as their own thing, and that's fair enough. Where's LTO? Can't remember. Okay, no LTO. Let's. Okay. So, quick peek, we can see Bitcoin off a really good support level, which we've retested. Is it going up against Bitcoin? Yes, it is. Very nice base that it made here. Definitely gone beyond the 236. This one, LTO Bitcoin. So yes, we should be looking at this against Tether and any entries we can get. So I think we've got a date with LTO Bitcoin with this 200 moving average and this 50% retrace, and I would expect a little bit of a shallow pullback there, maybe back to the 38.2 and so on. First off, we've got to get above this 38.2. So, you know, it's like climbing a staircase. This big move today has put us into this resistance. So we'll look for an ABC correction and then hopefully carry on higher in LTO Bitcoin. So looking really, it should look amazing then, shouldn't it, against US dollar? And it does. So here we are at new highs. So we've exceeded before, you know, we couldn't close above this previous high. Now we have. So this level potentially is support 0.1519. And here, when we look at the hourly, you can see it. We've pulled back to this level, found support. So we're going to go back. Remember, corrections are normally 3 waves, A, B, C. They can be funky and irregular, but sometimes they're just simple. So if we measure like this, so we could retest this level at 0.151, and that would be where we're 61.8 of this first swing, and then we could rally from here. Or we could, if we do a deeper correction and everything goes to hell, come back to 0.1338. So LTO, I like it, but I think it still owes us one more short-term corrective swing lower, and that's what I'd be looking for. So yeah, LTO Tether, if we close here at new highs, looks very good. Look for 151 to be support, and if not, 13338. Okay, next one after LTO is ONT. Haven't looked at this one for a bit. Okay. Then we'll do SNX, Doge and Link. I know everybody's waiting for SNX, Doge and Link. Okay, first off, let's look at ONT against Bitcoin, because look at this downtrend. Does it look like we've stopped going down for a little bit? Yeah, we have. It's not enough yet, though, to reverse this trend. We might have even done 5 waves, but yeah, you know, I would just want to see a bit more. yeah, I'm not, you know, this weekly, this day, we've stopped going up, but we're still in a downtrend against Bitcoin. So for me, I wouldn't spend my Bitcoin on ONT. But that doesn't mean it's not going up, and some people have bags of it, and some people love it. And if enough people love it, it will start going up against Bitcoin. So let's take a look at where we are here, because off the lows against the dollar, we have had a rally all the way to the 886, all the way to the, if you reverse it an 8, so I put my fibs on from this high to low, okay? When you reverse it an 886, your first target is the 50%, which we did. Your second target is the 236 fib, which we did. Then you expect to go back to the middle, which we did. And here we are retesting this 236. So I think we're pretty done with this fib now, aren't we? We'll probably go this way now and say where we're reversing from and what are the rules, because we're reversing from a 786 fib. And the rules now say if you get above the 61.8, then you're going to go 38.2 first. So here's our bounce off the 786. Here's our 61.8 that we have to close above. 0.5148. If we close above that, my fib rules say we should go back and retest these highs, because we're in a sideways range. Look, we've got dead flat moving averages. This is the bottom of our range. We've got a swing failure pattern here, and here's the top of our range at this 38.2. So, ontology tether. A close above 0.5148 should target 0.7027, and we'll see a nice rally. At the moment, we're still stuck underneath it. Here's our daily. Gosh, it was a volatile day, wasn't it? And the daily 50. So this is what we need to do, and we're not quite over that yet. There's our resistance. This looks like a bit of an ABC. It might be that we need to come all the way back and retest the lows, which would be a bit of a pain. But, you know, that's the market. Unless we can get above 0.5148, we're not going up in ONT tether. Okay, sorry about that. Next one. SNX Doge link. Okay. I'm going to find SNX. This one's been on fire, hasn't it? We've been all over this in our group. Now, let's put, because this is a bit like Bitcoin. We hit a bit of a target today. And you can see, so we put our fibs on from this low to this high. And you can see these projections. At the 61.8, we went sideways for 4 days. The equal measured move was a little bit washy, wasn't it? 1272 was resistance, resistance, resistance. Then we popped it. 1.618 was resistance. And I've been using these fibs. Look, that was the 1272 here. Let's take that off. And this was the 1272, 113. And so this 1.618 extension, I don't think this is going to be the high, but it is a little bit of a setback level. And we're at a little bit of a risk because you can almost kind of count 5 waves up. And as soon as you could do that, even if it's just roughly, you're at a little bit of a risk of a bigger reversal. You can kind of go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, can't you? It's very rough. And I think actually if we looked underneath, we're still owed another one. No, there we go. This is, well, 5 waves. So it's been very good all year. But this level here, this 1.618 extension is just one of those levels, 11.22. It's one of those levels where I would have it as a target. I might sell a little at that level. And if we got back above it, I would buy it back again. But from here, there is a bit of a risk that we could come back to this 9.35 if not a bigger correction. And because we can count 5 waves up, we could trigger a bigger correction, which is like, you know, a 3-wave correction. That's the cautious me, okay? But the bullish me says, look at it. It's in a parabolic uptrend. Why would you get out? And so I would never sell it all because we could just keep going. But it is one of those levels where I might take some partial profit and get out if it turns into a bigger correction and buy it if it pops above. If it does pop above and it keeps going, I think that 13.29, I think my 16.6 would be the next upside target. That's the 2.618. That's just how they tend to work. So, yeah, SNX is hot. But this 1.618 extension could see a bit of a bigger correction. So, watch out in that one. Okay, Doge. Ugh, Doge. Now, let's start with Doge Bitcoin. Is Doge outperforming Bitcoin? Yes, it is. So I talk about the 113 fib extension. That's one of those fib extensions. If you kind of go just too far, it's the opposite inverse of an 886, isn't it? So I put my fib from this high to low, and this 113 held us very nicely. So I'm going to move my fibs now this way. And we're going to look at our retrace levels from this big drop and see where we're at. Okay, because we're in that 61.8, 38.2 golden ratio zone thing. We've dropped a little bit underneath it. When you do that, the 236 is where you come back to if you can't hold the 38.2. So here at 26 is where I would expect us to be able to rally from. And we're pretty close to this nice 200-day moving average as well. The problem with really low numbers like Doge and the big fat tick numbers is sometimes you don't hit them exactly, but it's pretty close to a bounce, isn't it, from the 236 fib. And what's quite bullish about this as well, pains me to say it, but this just looks like a big ABC correction, doesn't it? So this first swing and this second swing are exactly equal. That means if we get above this level here in the middle, we're going up again, and we've just made a correction. So that's the first swing, pull back, and then we're looking at the next swing. So let's go back to the daily and look at where, gosh, that might go. So here's our first swing, low to high. Here's our pullback. So first target would be a retest of the highs. Second target would be 54. So we're right at a level where I think Doge could rally from if we can get above this previous high on the hourly and above 33. If we can't get above 33, then this bounce is just about, and you know, our moving averages are the wrong way around. So this kind of sets up sometimes a retest to the low. And it maybe we drop a little bit more, in which case those projections won't quite work. But yeah, this is kind of a level I would expect to bounce from Doge. I personally won't. I just haven't been trading. I haven't been trading Doge myself. But I suppose I look at it a bit like Ethereum Classic, and you know. Anyway, at the end of the day, half of these coins really don't have any proper function anyway, do they? So, but yeah, so above 33, we'll look for the top of this wedge, and then above 38, we should fly. I'm trying to see which dog that is that's snoring. I just want you to know that it's not me snoring like that. Okay, we're going to look now at Link and Link GBP. Gosh, as well. I've been talking about Link in my group because this is another one I've been a little bit bullish, you know. This is a pretty nice pattern. I felt like this was another equal measure move. There's our first swing, there's our second swing, you know, not quite equal but close enough, and here we are breaking out of this channel. If that's the case, then we've pulled back to retest our breakout level, and we need to see now if we can keep going, because we've failed at these previous highs. So here we are back at the support level. Are we going to do it? I can't tell. I can't tell. But I would say that a close back underneath 12.94, and that would be, yeah, a false breakout. If we can hold this and turn up again, that would be the pullback retest, and we should keep going. So Chainlink against Tether, here we are at pretty good support and looking for a breakout. And that would mean that this big correction was done and we were on our way up again. Now, let me put regular candles on. Let's look at Link Pound. Okay, wait. Link Pound. So in this one, this is a very similar thing with this correction. So we have a rally, A leg or a 1, and here's our A, funky B, C leg correction. Are we going up again? You see what I mean here, like this? Equal, and so we should be on our way up again. The problem is if we just do another ABC rally, then it's all just one corrective swing after another, and that's exactly what it looks like we've done. So no, we're not ready to go again. This is and then we haven't finished this leg down. So especially that we're back under 9.97. So whereas the Link dollar chart is at the level where I would expect it to hold support and turn up again, this Link pound chart, I have to say, for me is a little bit more bearish. And I think we've reversed. Now, if we hold this daily 50, as you know, I'm a huge fan of these moving averages, then potentially we can continue higher from here. But yeah, it's starting to look a little, it really does need to turn higher from here, or it's starting to look a little bit like a false breakout for me. This hourly is not really adding much confidence. There's our A, B, C. Okay. So if you look on the title of the video, it says tonight's requested coins, and I've kind of gone in order. Okay, I've got a few more to go. RSR and then TOMO. So RSR is one of those coins. When it really goes, it really goes. So let's take a look. Okay, if I look at it with high Kanashion, this kind of looks like one of those 786 reversals, doesn't it? It's a little bit messy, but we'll call it RSR, we'll call it a 786 reversal. That means that if we break this 61.8, we're going to come all the way down here to the 38.2. And this level where we're at is support, and it's retested this previous high. So potentially a pretty good support level. This does, though, look a little bit like a Gartley pattern. And the best Gartley patterns are also ABC equal and measured moves, which this one is, which means that if we break this 61.8 here, we've really have got a bearish reversal going on, and we're looking all the way down here. Okay, what is a Gartley pattern? Well, a Gartley pattern is when you rally and your first leg is to a 61.8, which we didn't quite reach, pull back, and then the second leg goes to that 61.8. And so this is not an A1 Gartley, but it is, this reversal here is a Gartley, and that would mean it's really a trend continuation pattern, a downtrend, and there's that 1.618. So it all lines up. So for me, this is a bearish Gartley pattern reversal in RSR tether if we break this level, this 61.8 level here. So 0.02666 if we close underneath it. And if we don't, and we hold the support and we carry on higher and we break this bearish symmetry, happy days. But this is now key support. So how are we doing here? Well, so far we bounced off it pretty nicely. But yeah, we need to hold it and not go below it. If we do, we're going to go all the way down to 1935 and potentially 1482. Actually, we go lower than that because we'll put it on the other way. Hold on. If we reverse, so I'm going to look for that 786 the other way. What 1402, 1400, 1400 is where we're coming back to. Okay, if we lose 0.2666. So the retest is the test. Let's see if we can hold this level and bounce in RSR tether. That's what I need to see. Okay, TOMO. TOMO's one with quite a really nice bullish pattern. Now, hope that, you know, when you look at this, you would say, gosh, nice big rally, ABC correction, is this the next upswing starting again? We would say hopefully, and if we measure from here to here and project it from down here, our first upside target would be this 61.8 in the big picture of things. In the short term here, what we've made is a really nice correction. This choppy overlapping channel that we've been in is a correction, and we've broken out of it. And remember, when you break out of a channel like this, your first danger area is always that you fail at the previous highs. We have not. We've continued higher. So this looks epic. Love it. So yeah, so far so good. It wasn't quite an 786 38.2 reversal thing, so I'm going to bin those fibs, I think, and I'm going to bin this. We'll put them on the other way. So we'll put them on like this. And we'll look at our retrace levels, see how we're doing. So this was a 38.2, we double top, so we're looking for the 50 next, and then the 61.8 to retest these highs. So I think we continue to 1.009 at least, and more likely, I think, 1.1374. Very nice breakout in TomoChain. And if this is just, you know, would be gutted, but if this is just a big A and B, then, you know, we should look at some of these levels for where we might stop. So 1.009 would be approximately where our equal measured move is, this 50%. So watch out we don't reverse here and come all the way back in Tomo. I'd really like to see it carry on for a really nice big move in this one. And a big move would mean, so that's where our bearish resistance is, 1.009. And if we can go beyond it, our bullish targets would be I'd be looking for a bat pattern. So that would be the 886 up there. So 1.009 would be our bearish level, and our bullish target is 1.42. if we can get beyond this 50% level. Get rid of that 1.618, because then we should make a back pattern. So 1.009 and then 1.42 in TOMO tether. A very nice chart, that one. EGLD. Where is that one gone? Here we go. This is another one that's climbing a fib staircase. So ERG tether here at Binance. I've got my fibs from this high to low. Okay. We did each one of these fib levels has been a little bit messy. This 50% has held. We're above this 786. That's now support, and our next upside target in EGLD is 31.69. Might we stop there, or might we keep going? I'm not sure. You know, I feel like this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're in 5. And so we need to, when we, you know, there's quite often a fib relationship between 1 and 5. So if we measure like that, yeah, I'd kind of watch out around 31, 32. You know, I think that we could see some resistance there. So 31.69, as long as we hold above 28.79. We've had a little bit of a pullback today. So remember, we talk about candlesticks, and especially when you have a big green body, as long as you don't close more than 50% back, that for me stays bullish. This is just a pullback. You know, if you only pull back 50% of the previous day's body, the open close, you know, you stay in kind of an uptrend. So for me, looking at this here as it is now, we're still in a nice uptrend on this 4 hour. We haven't reversed, and I'm still looking for 31.69. But watch out for resistance there in EGLD. You know, we're a long way from our moving averages, and we're pretty stretched out in this one. Okay, YFI. No, all of these I was think. Anyway, let's start on the daily in this one. So there's this thing, you know, where you called the golden ratio zone. So when you put your fib retrace levels on in between the high and the low, if you go back, you can go back and forward in between the 61.8 and 38.2 for quite a while. Sometimes that will extend down to the 236. But it's called the golden ratio zone. It's where you consolidate, the bulls and the bears fight it out, and there's a pivot level through the middle, which is the 50%. So you can normally say if you break the 50%, you're going up to the top of the range, and if you stay underneath it, you're in the bottom. And that's really what we're doing. We're ranging. We've had a bearish cross of these daily moving averages. That's a little bit of a concern, because if we can't get higher here and we get stuck at this 50% level and we turn down with this bearish cross of these moving averages, we could very easily see another swing lower down to this 236 fib level if we break that support. I'm not saying we will. I'm just saying, for me, YFI tether at the moment is ranging, and I'd be very interested above 25,708 if we could close above that. Yes, I think that would be, especially back above these daily moving averages, having made this base. I think that would be a very good look, and I'd look for that 786 next. But if we lose this, and I'm bearish under here, okay, I'm bearish on the close underneath 21,400, and in between, you know, just you can get chopped up to death in here. Okay, so that's YFI. Then BZRX, which I have not, BZRX, which I do not have time to research. So this is our monthly chart before everyone has a heart attack. And So if we just overshoot here, remember that 113 fib would be where we would like to see us hold support or previous low. So let's see, because if we stay underneath this previous support, that's where we're going to. So here's on our daily. Okay, here's the support we've broken at 611. If we can't get above it, I think we drop to 425 against Bitcoin. So against Bitcoin, although we've started to turn up, it's not quite enough yet for me to... Gunny pup, you all right? No, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's okay. Okay. So in a downtrend, what you'll very often see is, you know, sort of 50% bounces. This is kind of where we've come to as well here. 50% back and that previous high. So let's see if we can make a bigger base here in BZRX against Bitcoin. That would make me more interested. So this is 4 hour. If we could make an inverted head and shoulders pattern or something, that would be good. That's what a master sounds like when he barks. Okay, so that doesn't mean that this is going to be horrible against the US dollar, but it does mean it's not so great against Bitcoin. So I'm just going to ignore them. I'm sorry about this. Okay, so again, we've got our really nice, this is a bullish Gartley. Okay. Yeah, you know, the dog might have felt the ghost. So this is a bullish Gartley. So look, we put our fib on from, here's our first from this high low. Our first swing to the 61.8, and we bounced, and then here's our C leg to the 786. These two swings are probably equal, or let's see if they have a relationship. Not quite. There we go, 61.8. This is a bullish Gartley pattern if we can close above 9.1987 in BZRX. That's what we've got to do. Haven't quite got there yet. And if we stay underneath, we have not got the reversal that we're looking for. But this has a lot of potential. We could also draw a trend line, look for a breakout that way. If we connect these two highs, we know we're almost there. But if we widen it out, make it really conservative, then it gives us kind of the same level. Okay, so we would have a bullish Gartley reversal above 0.1987, and then this is our first leg, second leg, and we would be looking for a bigger move. So measure, high, low. Our first target would be up here, 0.3205. And our second target would be 0.4312. Okay, so if we don't get above here, we have not got the reversal that we need to see. So does that mean that you can't buy it ahead of there? No, you can't. You could buy it ahead of there if you wanted to, but just realize that when we get to this level, 1987, it's potentially, you know, a bit of resistance, potentially a bit of trouble. Okay. It's also, look, you know, this is again a bit of bearish symmetry here as well. ABC, so we may be done, and so I would not be buying this unless I saw that breakout in BZRX. Okay, there we go. Alex G says Zen on BitTrax is testing important. Let's take a look. Yeah, look at these highs. This is quite a big... It is, isn't it? right at the top of the range. Could we see a breakout? 15, above 15. Yeah, good luck in that one. Above 15, that should fly. Like, it's a big, but it's a, you know, big deal resistance, isn't it? So. Okay, good night, everyone. I'll see you next week. Happy 2021. Here we are in lockdown again. Gosh. I hope it doesn't happen whatever country you're in. Okay, good night.